on the flip side for SEM9, like Caspiel, he finally gets the Zins out. Let's see what he can do here.
Yeah, because Caspiel needs to dominate this early game, and in the first game of their night versus Meta Falcon team, we saw a great early game from SEM9, considering they're the bottom place team, but it all just fell apart. And I've noticed that as a trend in the PCS. We've had strong early games or contestable early games, but mid-game, just question marks. Like, teams sometimes really don't know how to transition leads, or if they're at a deficit, how to play out their comp. And I found that as a growing trend in the PCS from these, like, bottom four teams. So I kind of want to see SEM9 grow from that here, Nightstar, and get their first win on the board, please. This team, it's starting to hurt too much.
If they're able to get a win here, that would be very, very surprising. It would mean so much for them, because not only would it be a win on the board, it would be against J Team, one of the teams in the upper half of the standings, which would be massive. So hopefully we get to see those improvements carry over, and at the very least we get to see a bit of a change here. Caspiel gets his hands on the Zin. When I compare Caspiel to Arashi, Arashi was more of the all my lanes are on fire, but I'm going to go ahead and go on my merry way. He kind of ignored all the disasters and tried to get himself snowballing, whereas Caspiel, I mean, he's trying to put out these fires, but it hasn't necessarily been successful.
No, and, you know, all the fires that come through. Nice dredge line onto ClayX. Enzo with a root down onto Felia as well. He's made the engage. Ignite goes down. This is going to have to be another summoner as he flashes away. Now back onto ClayX, who walks into melee range. Oh, no, they flash again. Lil V as well. J-Team's bottom lane with the absolute Chad move.
All right. Usually you won't see a level 1 death right there, but I mean, it's just a bit of an overextension coming in from SEM9. They just don't play the spacing outright, and it allows Enzo to get himself that really nice hook there, and they're able to transition it into a first blood. ClayX still has his flash, and because J-Team did have to expend both of or all of their summoners there, so both flashes, it could be a target for Caspiel to try and target to even things out very quickly.
It's just crazy to me that 2v2 looked like it was done for a summoner trade, and then Enzo flashes in, Lil V on the same page. This is what you come to expect here out of what I think is, you know, the strongest, or at least one of the strongest bottom lanes in the PCS. As Kongyue is moving mid, Feely is going to spot him out. Lazar in trouble. He's going to get rooted down. Still has the flash available. Will he get to use it? No. Lazar targeted, and the 2v2 mid even adding insult to SEM9's injury.
Hysterics, I don't know why he was hugging towards bottom side. He knows his jungler is towards the top side, and Felia just came out of spawn, and just doesn't have that, not a whole lot of control. And this is one of the issues we've said time and time again about Lazar, is that he just doesn't quite seem to have a handle on how to play some of these lane phases.
Yeah. You know, at this point, we've seen it all from Lazar. We've seen decent lanes, but we've mainly been seeing lanes like this where he gets bullied out nice and early. The flash wasn't burnt, but Lazar is down a little bit now, with Uniboy able to pick up that kill. It's going to be a tier on the Syndra as well, looking for the new ability haste from the Seraph's Embrace. And as we come into an early game state at 4 minutes, just note that it's a 1k gold lead for J-Team. Kongyue in a great position, and Lazar will be lucky if he can continue getting trades like that.
Yeah, and the big thing is Kongyue hasn't been really put under pressure to try and make a play before he hits level 6, which means he's going to be able to get to level 6 very comfortably. Caspiel now is on the fire.
Down. I mean, that's a Hex Flash over the wall. Caspiel now getting hit with the normal face-to-face. He flashes over the wall, but Felia now getting hit himself. It's going to be a reset, but Caspiel stops it. That's great as Lazar comes in. No shockwave available, but Enzo buying time for Uniboy, and ClayX gets him as well. A shutdown, a stampede from SEM9 to stop the rushing from J-Team.
An excellent turnaround coming in for SEM9 as Felia, he gets a great knock up there to save his jungler, allow Caspiel to flash over the wall, and this time the team's there to respond to him being on fire, and now they help bail him out. He's in an okay spot, and ClayX also able to recoup some of his losses.
I love that Caspiel had the audacity to jump back in, knowing that he could actually help out with the play, because if he didn't, then Kongyue gets the reset. Yeah, that's right. And the fight goes very differently. So making the play there for Caspiel, again, trying to put out the fires. That's what you were saying about this early game from the jungler of SEM9. He's different from Arashi in that sense, and this time around, it really benefits SEM9, getting back into an early game that already looked like a disaster.
Yeah, and while they are still down a little bit of gold, it's fairly manageable in this situation. And I mean, you talked about Caspiel making a very audacious play. Could you say he made an audacious charge?
I could indeed. That pun is going to come with a flash for flash on screen. So no more of that, Night Star. You've been put in the corner with now Lazar's summoner finally being down. Kongyue burning his own is interesting, but still going to be a worthy trade.
Yeah, you'll definitely take the trade when it comes to jungle versus mid flash. As okay. That was pretty...
Driver in the solo lane. That, yeah, pretty big, right? The flash now being burnt from Shuramain after the Gnar ulti, and Kongyue is down on the bottom side doing Dragon. So...
They want to contest, apparently.
They do. But Dragon's already gone down. Caspiel coming in. Dredgeline, though, lands on Ophelia, the zap as well. Caspiel doesn't have the ulti. It's a 3-man shockwave, but it does no damage at this point. And with a reset, Kongyue becomes Caspiel. Zap down, Lazar dead, the flash burnt before, and even Driver in the top side as the rocket helps out. J-Team thinking in 4 dimensions as the early game once again returns to their solid favor.
Oh my god. The side of SEM9, they really wanted to try and contest that dragon, but A, they were late to the party, and B, well, ClayX was behind on the play. He couldn't get inside track. That means Lil V is able to output safe damage, and ClayX, he's just left trailing, really, to watch the rest of his team go up in flames. We're going to see the replay as we are able to see, well, Enzo's here, and Filia decides to jump in, and now Lazar, he doesn't have a whole lot of mana. The only mana he has is to just cast his shockwave, which he does, and it lands. It's great. It's beautiful. But, I mean, it's really just wall art at that point. There's no real point to it as J-Team just run away with that fight.
Oh, we've seen so many beautiful plays coming through from J-Team in this game. The overextension towards the bottom side, the only mistake. Everything else has been bliss. And Nightstar, we're back to a gold lead. That's pretty big for an early game. 2,000 gold this time. As Filia keeps roaming, trying to give safe keepings to Lazar. He knows that Kongyue is always hunting, and at this point, like, SEM9 playing the defensive to stop it from getting any worse than it already is.
Yeah, and SEM9 are investing a whole lot of resources. We kind of just see this all the time, at least in previous games as well. Caspiel's under fire.
He's got ulti this time, though. Scatterweight comes through onto Filia. Kongyue still poking him down.
Has ult.
Yeah, that shockwave, an important tool you just mentioned. And it's around this Herald that they now want to proceed. J-Team, though, have the health bars for now. And Driver has Mega Gnar in the top lane, which is worth mentioning. So we'll see how Herald progresses now, Nightstar. As Caspiel, again, is the target. Bit of trading here from Kongyue. Smite goes down as well. He starts burning Filia to help out, but Kongyue gets pulled into the shockwave. And again, J-Team a bit too deep. His Driver's in there, though. The Mega Gnar brings it back. Drive all the way. Where are you going? Lazar didn't pay for the taxi service that he's given for an absolute freedom.
Now he's just going to run down Shiramini as well. And it's going to be a great success. He has, of course, the steel cap, so he is going to be a lot better off in these trades. And man, J-Team, I mean, it was Kongyue going a little bit too far, but he knows that there is going to be follow-up. He knows the rotation is going to be there faster coming in from his top laner, and now Caspiel is in pinch.
He's got no Crescent Guard as well on the wrong side. He can't get Meganar though. And he plays but Kongyue's over the wall. Now with the unleashed power from Uniboy, it sets up the first reset of the battle. As Kongyue returns, gets a knock up, the 3 Talon Strike, and a Heartbreaker to boot. J-Team, just when they get caught, they pull them back in.
Starting to look like an LPL game here. We've got 14 kills in 10 minutes. Like,
dude, you guys always look like an LPL. To be fair, I think PCS is more aggressive this split than LPL is. I say that with absolute truth.
I mean, you guys have picked a lot more Corki, so that naturally is going to slow things down quite a bit. So, but I mean, we just finished fighting, but Rift Herald spawned, so we have to fight for Rift Herald too.
We do, of course we do. The PCS loves Blood and Heartbreaker almost off cooldown as Enzo's engages have been great. Look for the shockwave though from Lazar. It's going to be big as Enzo will be the first to go down. Driver joins in. His ulti's still up and available. He's about to go Mega, but no one from J-Team wants to return. So SEM9 still getting a trade despite being so far down.
SEM9 strike back immediately. They get themselves this Rift Herald. And, I mean, it's not to a large cost, right? Because Lil V, he is not shoving for plates in that situation. So he's not able to essentially get the Rift Herald reward that you would get from dropping Rift Herald. And so he isn't able to answer back. I think this is a great play coming in from SEM9. But more importantly, it's J-Team not respecting their timers, right? They just don't have their ultimates available to them. Right. So as such, Crescent Guard becomes available. All of a sudden the fight advantage is actually in favor of SEM9 in that instance.
Early damage of Xin Zhao as well, and you know, Lazar's shockwave has to be respected too. Didn't get it off in that last fight, but if it did, J-Team, it could have been so much worse. Herald goes down, SEM9 have it on Caspiel, and that Gore Drinker Xin Zhao, we'll have to see where he puts it, because we've got top, we've got mid, losing lanes. Bottom lane as well, Little V is striking down ClayX against the turret. There's not many options available, and Caspiel might have to create them here as Kongyue runs interference.
You're going to turn their attention towards the dragon, so that's going to mean Caspiel is looking to respond towards that top side, and I mean, Driver's kind of out in no man's land a little bit here. He plays forward knowing that he has that ward, but definitely could have looked a little ugly, as now they're just going to look at to drop the Herald here and actually go for a dive.
Yeah, he's backstopped, not paying the respect. Shockwave comes through, he's just dead. That should never happen from Driver, and with that, now opens up the turret you mentioned for the Herald. It's going to be a race, though, as Lil V down the bottom side wants to get his own, and he's pulled it up before Caspiel even drops the pink thing.
At the very least, they'll be able to answer back, so trading gold for gold is going to feel good, especially when you already are in a losing position from the side of SEM9. So keeping pace is going to be nice. However, Lil V is actually putting down a ton of damage on this tier 2, which if he secures solo gold onto that,
it's gone.
I mean, we buffed the gold on those turrets, and that's just a large chunk of gold going into his hands now.
Yeah, so that trade not going to be worthwhile. It looks like pings were going down from SEM9 for assistance bot, and they were thinking about sending that top tier 2 in with the rest of the team, but considering that ClayX was mid, that's a free second turret. You talked about the gold value. Lil V has a rapid fire cannon and tier 1 boots still there, so that's a full item over ClayX from what has just been a simplified trade that pushes J-Team close to 4,000 gold in the lead.
He's really just exacerbating this gold differential down in that bottom lane, and I can understand why ClayX didn't want to walk up to try and clear out the wave or even get close to the Jinx, because we saw in just that last game, right? Blaze walks up with that Jhin to try and 1v1 the Jinx and just gets absolutely shellacked. So it's understandable why he just goes, you know, if I'm not getting help from my team, y'all can have this tier 2. I'm not going to try.
Well, for J-Team, You know, at this point, they've now got to realize that they've got a tier 1 in the mid lane that should be easily accessible. I think more so, SEM9 realizing that if they don't get this next fight with a Shockwave or at least everyone in the AoE, this gold lead is going to continue ballooning out of their reach. Uniboy in a very great position. Driver still, despite diving in one himself. Lil V is massive. And now they have full control of what looks like this topside jungle simply because they've got numbers advantage.
Looks like we're going to have another fight.
We are. Caspiel gets knocked up, but I'm wondering, does Kongyue have enough damage? Maybe he does. Yes, he burns over the wall. With the match flash, Uniboy dealing with Shuramain as well, and Enzo waiting for a dredge line. He gets the auto, he gets Riptide, and Shuramain gets nothing. J-Team with 2 more while Driver sits in a side lane. It just looks too easy.
Hey, it really is just all too easy for the side of J-Team at this point. Whole lot going in the favor, and it's really easy at this point to just keep playing around your strong players, right? You have Syndra that's 4-0-4. It's very hard to get onto this champion. Usually, as the Zen in this point in the game, you're able to jump in and really throw a fit for this Syndra. But, I mean, if you jump in, as long as Uniboy's within the Crescent Guard, Uniboy has his outplay button, so you're not much of a threat at that point to that backline, and Lil V has more than enough damage to blast you as well.
I like that you bring up Uniboy in this situation where, you know, pre-game, we were talking about Uniboy not having the same impact. This time around, his laning phase has been decent, but Uniboy has been pretty solid in these little skirmishes too, so it's nice to see the player that has received a bit of criticism for not being as good as he was back when he was last with Kongyue or even in recent history, to now kind of slowly returning to form in the spring split. This is a really good game for him to shine as he's close towards the Void Staff second. And alongside Kongyue, they are doing a lot as a 2v2 unit with backup.
Yeah, a bit interesting that he does go for the Void Staff, as there isn't necessarily a ton of resistances built up, at least item-wise. Of course, you are going to have some hidden MR boosts coming in from Hullbreaker, but that's only in certain situations, of course, when he's by himself. So perhaps they're suggesting that they want to put Uniboy in a 1v1 against the Graves, since Uniboy can match with the teleport, but now we're just going to have a bit of an A-ramp. So very comfortable with this situation from NA.
Feels like J-Team are grouping towards the Dragon because third Dragon will move to Soul Point. It's an Ocean Soul. And for SEM9, forced to be around this objective when Meganar is about to come up. Enzo with the engage. Feeling in the backline. Enzo sacrificed, but Driver does it again. An instant double kill. J-Team are on the board in more than a big way. That's the poke, the burst, and Driver taking us in a nice little Ferrari ride.
Man, they're just going pedal to the metal at this point here. We're going to have the curtains called, but I mean, there's no curtains to call in that situation. They're going to lose this next tower as well. Lil V is going to get excited. He'll be able to walk out. They get themselves a third dragon. Everything going into the hands of JT.
That ulti once again. I mean, watching a good Gnar ulti, watching a great fight with Gnar in the prime position. Can't get much better than that. A bounty now achieved. 2 items with the Mythic just picked up. This is looking like J-Team mean to storm the rest of the game. 7,000 gold lead. 19 minutes into the game. And what started a little bit rickety with SEM9 punishing them for overextending, like it could have been here. Nightstar, it's all about Driver again.
Yeah, it was just really good Gnar timing there. And the side of SEM9 also not respecting the Gnar bar, right? They take that fight. Sure, you get that initial pick onto Enzo, but what does it cost you? It costs you 3 members, it costs you a dragon, and it costs you your 2 mid towers. So all in all, this is not one of those hashtag worth moments.
It's not. It's definitely not. I wouldn't even be thinking about that as Enzo wants to trade back onto Caspiel. Dredge line at max range. Being thought about. Lazar off on the wing with the shockwave. And this is Baron territory, Nightstar. We've got ourselves a 20-minute Baron setup here with Vision getting cleared. SEM9 again, it's another objective they have to walk into, and it's Caspiel hit first. A two-man depth charge as Kongyue now has his jungler in a pit. Crescent Guard means nothing. It gives him a reset as Felia's low as well. Driver jumps on in. Flash over the wall. That ulti from Kongyue, kind of strange, but sure mind with a good smoke screen as it doesn't matter. Lil V's excited again, and J-Team can do no wrong when they're this far ahead.
Yeah, at this point in the game, it's just too much of a mountain to climb here. And, I mean, it's tough, Hysterics. Especially when you're not really helping yourself out when it comes to itemization as well. As we see Clayax, he's now completed the Collector. That's not going to do a whole lot given what he's trying to hit, right? He's going to be hitting Driver. He's going to be hitting Kongyue. Both of them have steel cap boots. You're not bursting through these targets very quickly at all. You're hitting this Nautilus who has Even Shroud with steel caps himself. So it's so hard to play this game from here on out because of also just your items not helping out in the cause.
Feels like so many options taken away as Nightstar, we look at the replay again. Another good hook.
Another good hook there, and they just, I mean, Caspiel gets bursted out. He doesn't use the Crescent Guard fast enough to mitigate more damage. And then at that point, Lazar, he's trying to help out his jungler in that instance, which gives Driver the easy path to just walk up on him. So it's pretty smooth sailing from there. And yeah, unfortunately, they don't get Baron off of that because, well, I mean, your jungler died. So you don't want to try and flip the game back to them randomly.
But, you know, at this point, I wouldn't even say J-Team desperately need the Baron. They're 8,000 gold ahead. Enzo flashing in. Now going to depth charge after missing it. Caspiel wants to get out, but Driver's in against the wall. Knocks him down, and you can see the backline. SEM9 still taking a lot of damage, but the curtain call bullying out as half HP Enzo goes. But look at Kongyue, still a threat until he got down to about 1/3 of his HP. So J-Team try, but SEM9 used every ultimate to survive. And now that'll definitely be the Baron started by J-Team.
I'm quite surprised that SEM9 did not just shatter to pieces in that instance. Caspiel playing the fights really, really well still, and able to provide easy ball targets for Lazar on this Orianna. But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get close to this Baron. So that will be Baron going into the hands of J-Team. They'll go ahead, recall, spend the gold that they have. They've accumulated a lot of gold leads still, and it should just come down to this next dragon fight, Hysterics.
Well, this next one should be an easy one. 30 seconds till it comes up. Feely going to drop some wards, but guys, it's just about 10,000 gold lead here for J-Team at 23 minutes into the game. That void stuff completed for Uniboy, who is well and truly on the way to getting his third, which would be the Seraph's Embrace. But J-Team with the Baron buff and teleports available, as Seraph's, was just completed by Uniboy, flat out. Are now in front of the Ocean Soul and the peak of moving to 5-2 in the PCS. SEM9, you got to feel for them once again without a win, and this is looking like it's going to remain that way.
Yeah, and it feels like they're just a little bit shell-shocked here, because you even looking at itemization, Lazar, he's gone for the Hourglass second item. Clayax, we already touched on it, going for the Collector. That's not going to help him get kills. And same with Lazar on with this Hourglass. The only way for you to get back into this is to hit a multi-man shockwave that just decimates the other team. And Hourglass does not help you in that regard. So it feels like they're just really just too shell-shocked to really respond.
Trying to buy time and get somewhere in the game, but the game's going to be over because Enzo's found another hook onto Caspiel. Crescent Guard's out, the curtain call in the back line, Kongyue the target, and not sure who the rest is. Enzo's just going to take it, but he doesn't care. It's Ocean Souls, the dredge line is being prepared again. Inhibitor goes down onto the Nexus turrets. And so's target is going to be Shiromine. And with the shockwave you wanted, it's a whiff.
Dear.
And so goes Golden. Even if he dies, it won't matter. Look at Uniboy and Little B in the backline. S9 can't walk up. Nexus turrets are dying. Super Mega Death Rocket, Kongyue having a great time. J-Team, the members we talked about being slow, being a little bit underwhelming, have blasted this game against S9 and completely shattered the dreams of the fans of this team.